Welcome everybody, you get gooders or good getters, I guess, whichever you prefer, really. I'm Beanies, joined alongside Hamwell, and we're bringing you week one of playoffs here in Get Good NA. Not only is it going to be week one of playoffs, but we got the rookie division and the expert division hashing out all the action.
Yeah, and you'll actually notice as we do get over to our brackets that you'll notice this is actually showing as round two. See, technically, round one was our Get Good Fight for Redemption. So these teams that you're seeing here, specifically in the rookie division, they are they've had to fight for their spot to get into this lower bracket, and they're they've already won one. They're looking to kind of keep up that momentum, keep up the win streak. But one of these teams will lose, and one of them is going down. So we're going to have some really intense playoff action, I think.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, this is really the 11th hour. This is when you have to put your best foot forward. And if you want to stick around in the lower bracket, as we're going to see both these teams battle it out for, it's going to be leave it all out there kind of emotions. And when you have those kinds of situations, Hamwell, it can be really difficult to keep a stable mentality, which is so important for any team success.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's it's something you would expect in your, masters and GM level teams, that level of composure and poise. But the real difference maker, I think, especially in, divisions like the rookie division, is the teams that can, keep their composure, that can weather the storm, because both teams have proven that they deserve to be here. They've been winning matches to make it to this point. So you have to know that the team you're playing is going to have the skills. They're going to have moments where they're popping off, where they're looking really tough, and a lot of times it's just a question of weathering the storm and coming back strong. That was actually something my wrestling coach used to actually talk about a whole lot, was being together when everyone else is falling apart, specifically talking about playoffs. And so that's something that, the team that's able to do that, that's the team we're going to see come out on top, I believe, today.
Yeah, well, the first map where we will have that battle take place is going to be a King of the Hill map, specifically Lijiang Tower, where both of these teams ignited Embers and Belladonna. They both actually have listed Lijiang Tower as their preferred control map of choice. So interesting to see that both these teams have lucked out with getting their ideal map, and it really gives them an opportunity to put their best foot forward, especially with Lijiang being very favored to the likes of seeing that Reinhardt Zarya typically. And if one of these teams is much better and more superior on that Reinhardt Zarya duo, that could really lead to disaster if one team's not practiced.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I almost Lijiang Tower is kind of replacing King's Row in my book as that sort of, Scrim's Row. I almost think it's like, Scrim's Tower. I mean, we've seen a lot of Lijiang Tower this tournament, and but all these teams, they've had plenty of time, they've had plenty of live action to refine their strategy. So I think we're going to see some polished stuff. And like you said, Lijiang, has a lot. Their map points are all very nuanced, and we can see a lot of different looks. We can see the brawl, we can see Ryan Zarya, we can see double shield. We might even see some dives. So, I mean, that's all things that when you put that all together, it makes for a really fun map. And I definitely can understand why it's a player and crowd favorite as far as control maps go.
Yep, and here we are. As we're gonna be loading up onto Night Market first. The first of, for sure, two, possibly three maps we'll be seeing on Lijiang Tower, and we'll be getting our first opportunity here to take a look at what the compositions are going to be. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on your screen to the left in the blue, you're going to see the likes of Midori and Belladonna here going to be picking up their players, whereas Desney and Co. Yeah, Desney and Co. from Belladonna, and Pico Bandito and likes on the other side with the red going to be looking for their early victory here as we get the rounds headed underway.
I'm really disappointed to see Pika Bandita switch off of that Wrecking Ball. I mean, you can cause a lot of chaos. You can control a lot of space with Wrecking Ball, and you can do it really well, specifically on this point. That's a big pick starting it off.
Yeah, Ignited Embers really finding that opening there. Followed up with a Zenyatta pick there onto Miko. Zaka doing a great job, but look at that. That's the power of the Symmetra, taking the point first and foremost. And even though they do have point presence right there, the only one left standing is a Junkrat and that Symmetra turret. So while that is a nice little frag on the way out there for the likes of Belladonna, it's going to be Ignited Embers winning that first fight.
Yeah, just not quite enough, and Ember's able to take it and begin pushing progress forward. You know, I really the thing that strikes me about that first fight was just the difference in their comp. The Ryan Zarya versus the double shield. You know, it lends itself to the damage coming at range if you're playing double shield, and that's exactly what Embers did really well. And they are keeping Belladonna at a distance, and that's super important when you're running this comp with the double shield and the McCree.
Yeah, Destiny dropping very low there for Belladonna. Meaty actually dropping very low as well. Will get taken down, and that's just the straw that breaks the camel's back there. Dash is coming out left, right, and center here for the likes of Turtles, and that will be a second fight win here for Ignited Embers. And look at that, we're about to eclipse 50%. Excuse me, 50% here, Hamwell.
Yeah, and in only one fight basically. So I mean the double shield comp is working exactly as intended right now for Embers. They're doing a ton of poke damage at a distance. They're spamming Belladonna, and in doing so, they're already very low by the time they're earning the point. But now Trilogy does have that Deadeye coming online. Torrent Fury isn't far behind with the amplification matrix. I'd love to see some sort of maneuvering to get those ults together for some value.
Yeah, and here we can see some incredible value coming from that supercharger. Not only one, but two eliminations. Make that a third. On top of that, the Junkrat tire will get dropped. Such a big ultimate, finding no value there. And a Junkrat tire could be game-changing here. But now we're looking at 85% of the point taken by Ignited Embers. And Belladonna have to find a fight win. They have to find it now.
Well, and the disappointing thing about losing that tire is that now you're so vastly behind in the ult advantage as we near 95%. I mean, I do understand the idea. That's an ult that can turn a fight around, a losing fight into a winning, but it just doesn't pan out.
Oh, we do see one elimination trade out of piece here, but the Dragon Blade does come out, and even without a nano boost to back it up, that's still going to be one elimination to be found. A second will come through. Nick Nika will be finding one kill there just towards the end of the round, but that'll be all she wrote. A 99, make that 100-0 win here by Ignited Embers, going up 1-0 on Lijiang.
Yeah, that was just all around great synergized play coming out from Embers. They ran the comp in exactly the way that you have to run the double shield comp. And then we see, by keeping the damage coming all the way as Belladonna come in, we ultimately see that, once they do get to point, obviously they're cleaned up very quickly, but even more so, Turtles on that Genji blade, the minute they, got any sort of presence on the point, there was Turtles, with the blade, with a ton of, up close and personal damage with those shurikens, and you combine all that, and it was an easy 100-0, I'd say.
I'm excited to see Trilogy here on this Doomfist, just to see what he can pull out, because never mind, got baited, waited till the very last minute to go back to that Genji, but still an exciting pick to see, especially with the Genji changes recently coming in.
And it's interesting to note, Trilogy was on the McCree and is now on the Genji, so now we've seen two different Genji players on the side of Ember.
That is the definition of flexibility right there, making sure both players can play the same exact hero, hopefully to the same level, if not higher than their counterpart.
That is the question, indeed.
Exactly. Ebony Crusher going to be taking down one, and this could be the first fight when we see Belladonna finding, as Ebony takes down a second with the Dynamite, and Ash, when this hero gets rolling, it can be so hard to stop her with that Dynamite damage coming in and the AoE tick burn. It's really just such a hard fight to come back from, and then you're going to see Belladonna win their first fight of the map.
Yeah, and something important to note is that Midi Midori, 90% to a Rip Tire. That's a huge ult generation, especially when you consider that it was E-Boy that was doing it felt like it was E-Boy doing the bulk of the heavy lifting there on that fight, but props to E-Boy Crusher for literally just hitting the flank, going uncontested up to that high ground and just really just taking advantage of all the space that was given.
Oh! Tire! Midi Midori with the follow-up elimination as well, and even though Miko may have taken that fifth one away from her, I think we'll settle with the beautiful 4K there. Nicely done, and Belladonna have guaranteed themselves, by the looks of it and some quick estimation, they're going to get at least 55% of the point.
Yeah, I'd have to say so, and they've set themselves up in really good position. They've got a nice Coalescence and Graviton Flux coming online. They do need to watch out for that Nano. If I was Zac Attacks You, I would use that Nano to possibly help Reinhardt. But that's going to slow things down considerably. Yeah,
Midi is really taking control of this game right now. Amazing sleep right there by Zac Attack. Nicely done. stopping what would have been a team fight winning ultimate right there. But then with Bob coming in, the Coalescence following up, the ultimates are just being thrown out and regurgitated here by Belladonna. And now with 75% of the map taken, they have no ultimates left in their back pocket, so they're really going to be playing around Disney, getting that supercharger and finding a good spot to place it.
Oh, absolutely. And you look at Embers now, they've set themselves up. They've got a good ult advantage. They've got Shatter and Nano online with the Blade coming. But E-Boy doesn't need an ult.
E-Boy Crusher is absolutely dominating. 1, 2, 3, and even with the Dragon Blade coming out, it may not be enough. His Trilogy does find one, does find a second, but the Resurrect comes in, and the Rock is going to finish it off. Accretion to the face. And Belladonna has given us a hell of a map here as they are looking to finish off. But the nice recontest could be coming in here unless E-Boy Crusher, I mean, she's just unstoppable on this map. Even though she does get eliminated there, the damage has been done by the Ashe from Belladonna.
Absolutely, and that was just phenomenal Ashe play coming out there. I mean, that just really was to me the kind of the big difference maker. I thought all in all, Embers looked strong, but they just were getting completely outclassed by E-Boy Crusher on the Ashe. And Mini Midori getting a ton of value on the Junkrat. More of an unsung hero, except for that huge rip tire, but getting a ton of value, you know, basically just the threat of all that projectile explosive damage really forced Embers into, you know, fighting a very specific way, and that really allowed Belladonna to just kind of take advantage of it. They set their positioning really well, and they get the win. But looking ahead, E-Boy Crusher is going to stay on that Ashe, a smart call if you ask me. And then Mini Midori going over to the Pharah. Turtles has gone back to the Genji, and Trilogy back on the McCree. This was the DPS lineup that got them the first win here on Lijiang. So now we'll see if that can pay similar dividends.
Yeah, we're finishing out this map on Gardens as we do have some trading happening here in the White Room, but no straitjackets will be supplied for the time being as Nico going to be finding the first elimination, taking down Trilogy. And that means that Mini Midori, the explosive expert here for Belladonna, is going to have free reign in the backside of this fight. And that Mercy Pocket may have given up her life right there, but the damage has been done. The eliminations have come through. And Belladonna, ever since we started that second map, I don't think they've really given up a fight. They're just unstoppable right now.
Oops, they've looked very impressive after that first point. I mean, and that was 100-0, and they've literally just done a complete 180, dominating so far on Control Center, and then here as well. So ultimately now we're looking at Torrent Fury, though, having that amplification matrix. That could be big, but Midori just going to take out one of your main tanks early, you know?
Yeah, and it's not like losing a DPS or something along those lines. No flame to be thrown out. Anyone can deal damage on the roster.
And it was Orisa, too. It was the four-legged Slowpoke.
If you lose your main tank, or in this case, one of your two main tanks, that's going to be a real hit to any kind of movement you're going to put out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But in the meantime, Ember, they still do have that amplification matrix. They're going to need to get a lot of value out of it. They do have Deadeye coming online. I would lead off with the amplification matrix personally. They need to try and get some of these ults out of Belladonna, though, if they want to take control of this point.
Oh, the amplification matrix used perfectly with the Fire Strike, but E-Boy Crusher again and again. We're so used to it by now, throwing that Bob in, picking up a triple elimination, and then Desney following it up with two of her own. E-Boy Crusher actually taking away that Zenyatta kill, and now with 65% of the point here, Hamwell, if Belladonna can stall this fight out long enough and just delay this push, this could be the very last fight that Ignited Embers has.
Well, Midori's doing such a good job of providing pressure. That is slowing down Embers so much in their, you know, just quest to get to the point. But you look at all these ults online for Belladonna. I mean, this is really their fight to lose. They have the point control. They have the point presence. They've been playing the double shield well. All these ultimates. I mean, this is really looking locked up for Belladonna at this point.
Yeah, look at that Gravitic Flux coming in from Nico. Not going to find any eliminations, but the cooldowns will come out. So with no more Immortality Field, it's going to leave him wide open for a barrage here, and there is going to be one elimination to be found. A second will follow up, and so many more to come after, because Belladonna have signed, sealed, and delivered this first map victory after a dominating comeback.
That was just absolutely phenomenal. Well played coming out from Belladonna, using ultimates at the right time. E-Boy Crusher getting a ton of value on the Ashe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what E-Boy was playing on map 1, but honestly, I think she should stick to the Ashe because the Ashe is going
Why not? You know?
completely uncontested. I mean, such a great job. I mean, the Bob getting value, shutting down the amplification matrix. Definitely who I'd give at least the map 1 MVP to. Although Midori, definitely something to be said there with the Junkrat play coming
Yeah.
out. We will get to see a nice little replay of this tire.
Oh,
Clean.
beautifully done right there. Not much to say about that. I mean, that's just a
Just
Junkrat
clean.
tire. Yeah, Junkrat tire is one of those ultimates. It's very straightforward. You pull it out, you either explode near somebody or you don't explode near somebody. And
It's boom or bust, you know.
exactly. And
There's no middle ground. It's boom or bust,
and
and
that was the big boom.
big boom indeed. But fantastic. I mean, we're already seeing a strong match coming out because I mean, as good as Belladonna looked on those last two points of Lijiang, it has to be said, Embers, they were doing something right. You know, playing their double shield on the first point of Lijiang, Trilogy on the McCree, Turtles on the Genji. There was a lot of good stuff there. So I would not, you know, that was a tough couple of rounds for them on Lijiang, but I wouldn't count them out just yet. I think they have a ton of hope still in this match, and I'm excited to see what map 2 will bring us.
Yeah, I mean, we have to point out that we still did see that first round domination that came out
Oof.
from Embers, and it's really shocking that they got turned around on so aggressively by Belladonna. I mean, Belladonna, they came out storming on Control Center, and then Gardens, they did much of the same, didn't really let up at all, it seemed like. And Ignite Embers now going on to our second map, which is going to be an escort. They really have the opportunity to expose the difference in map type that we do see, or the difference in strategy we see between the map types of escort and King of the Hill control maps. With escort being a lot more reliant on those spawn timers, understanding when you can take a fight and when you should retreat. There's not one center point. There's a consistently moving point you have to fight around. So depending on how practiced Belladonna and Embers are, we may see much of the same here, or we may see a turnaround coming up. And by the looks of it, Rialto gets chosen. It no better map than Rialto. I mean, I feel like this map has seen more tense, crazy, incredible games than any other map in Overwatch.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Rialto has quickly grown to a favorite to my favorite escort map.
Really?
Bar none, honestly. It's my favorite. It's the most fun to play.
Mm,
I think that's something, hats off to Blizz. This was a map that came later in the game. I know maps that are unveiled later in the game have received a good bit of criticism, looking at
Paris and
Paris. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even want to say the
Horizon Lunar
big
Colony.
P. I didn't even want to say the big P. We all know we're
Mhm.
not even playing it anymore hardly.
I
But
know.
this is proof that Blizzard, knows how to design a good map, and so I love seeing Rial. As far as the play, I mean, a lot of the fun of Rialto, I think, has just come inherently because of double shield comp. I don't
Yeah,
know, the map kind of lends itself to that, but at the same time, I mean, you know, Reinhardt can be played. I feel like Reinhardt can almost be played anywhere. But to be fair,
mhm.
I play a lot of Reinhardt, so I'm just like, nah, play him everywhere. Horizon Lunar Colony, play Reinhardt. We'll
Exactly.
play
I
it.
get it. I get it.
But uh, you can see Reinhardt on Rialto. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of double shield here on this point. And I mean, you look at the double shield that came out on point one of Lijiang for Embers. I mean, I think this is a good map for them. Uh, that being said, Belladonnas, they look. I'm ready to see if they can continue this momentum because they have just looked so oppressive. Basically once they lost that one, it was like a wake up call, and all of a sudden they've just been rolling. So this is going to be an intense match.
Yeah, and we should point out we got Turtles on that Torbjorn. So shout out to him,
Ooh,
Torbjorn 5, the one and only, the legendary Torbjorn number 5.
Torbjorn
Trilogy,
number 5.
yeah, and Trilogy on the Ashe. So we have two separate. I want to say answers to that Pharah that Midi's going to be coming out with, because a good turret placement can really cause some issues. But that's going to depend on how Turo plays that hero. And actually, acknowledging the discrepancy in picks right there, Midi's going back to that Junkrat, going to be coming out on the same DPS duo that won them that first round, but it's actually going to be Desney here on the Orisa picking up the very first elimination here of this offense and possibly just non-stop pushing forward as we've reached this ever so famous corner where many a brawls happen on first point Realto.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the spot where both teams are just forced into each other, and that's
the
just
spot.
In double shield. That's just chaos. I mean, there's just so much just craziness going on.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. The non-stop just trading shield, breaking the opponent's shield, trying to find that slight opening when you can throw an accretion in or get a little bit of a shot in here or there. And now with Sigma is actually getting the better of one another for a second there. It's actually E-Boy Crusher coming out on top, and then Nick Nico, yes, does actually take out Pika Bandito. So that's going to be ultimately, by the looks of it, a fight won here by Belladonna, even with the main tank left standing. A nice little nano boost thrown down there onto the Orisa. You don't see it too often, but honestly, when you are that Orisa and you get a chance to use the nano boost, you fire a Gatling gun out of that left click.
Oh, it's insane. I mean, Trilogy getting a nice little triple there.
Wow, Trilogy!
That was nice and a good cleanup because I mean, Belladonna was still hanging in there. You know, they were definitely at odds, you know, losing the numbers battle, but they were hanging in there, so a nice triple by Trilogy coming out. But to the next fight coming up, that Molten Core, here on control maps where point presence is everything, that ultimate can be so oppressive, especially on the defensive side. Valkyrie and Bob coming out, though, and is that... Oh, that was Trilogy that just used Bob. Excuse me, I was about to say, did they just get Bob again that fast? But Bob out, so let's see.
Yeah. Bob's a friendly guy. He works in multiple places. You know, he's not restrained to just one job as he comes out for both sides here. And now with the Resurrect actually coming in onto E-Boy Crusher, that's very big there, getting one of the highest sources of damage here available for Belladonna back into the fight. And unfortunately, that's going to be 2 eliminations there by the defense as Turtles picks up 2, not only with that Magma, but also a nice little left click elimination there onto the Sigma. And this defense is looking very, very good, even with a few stumbles here and there. For the most part, we've seen Embers hold very strong here on first point.
Absolutely, and I love how Turtles waits till the end of that fight just to use the Molten Core. Once Belladonna's already committed to the fight, and they really can't retreat without walking right over the lava. But now, on the other side, Belladonna is in a really good shape. They do have that supercharger. They could rain in a ton of damage if they want to from this high ground that they've taken. Flux is going to be really good. I'd possibly say mid-fight, since, you know, or you could pair it with the supercharger. But Miko, Nano is online. Gotta wonder if that's going to be hitting E-Boy Crusher. Or will we see an Orisa Nano again?
Oh, we got the Gravik Flux coming in. That's going to be one support taken out of the fight already. E-Boy Crusher popping off with a second elimination there, taking down 2. And with that supercharger in tow, Trilogy decides to one-up its counterpart there in the Ash battle. Takes down 2, hoping to finish off a 3rd with Bob's help. And yes, that will be Trilogy taking down Nicky Nico. And now with possibly the final fight happening here, it looks like the Orisa is not going to stand for much longer. And by the looks of it, ladies and gentlemen, we have us Ignited Embers with a first point hold here against Belladonna.
That was lucky Miko was even able to proc that overtime.
Yeah, barely
got
to it.
Now Nico, the ball, just hiding. Fearing for their life. Ooh, an amplification matrix out there. That's just icing on the cake. I mean, it's over at that point. A fantastic a fantastic full hold coming out from Ember there. That was really intense to watch, actually. And I mean, now the win conditions set. They're ready to tie this series back up at 1-1.
Yeah, and honestly, there were I want to say 1 or 2 points where it looked like by all means Belladonna had won the fight, but after E-Boy Crusher's stellar performance, we really have Trilogy coming out here on the Ash himself and matching that Ash for Ash gameplay and giving us a reason to watch this duel that they're putting out, because both of them are putting out immense amounts of damage. They're having their bobs up at the same time. They're having similar ideas. It's just in that last fight, you know, you saw E-Boy Crusher just use their cooldowns first. And then after the Bob and whatnot were used, Trilogy came in and did the same exact thing, but was able to get one more elimination. And that one extra elimination just seems like it snowballed it.
One kill made all the difference. You really I could make that argument. Absolutely, I agree with you there. I love that we're down here in rookie division. No offense, I'm lower than the players playing right now, but you hear so much about meta differences in between rank. Ashe and Genji, two of the most powerful DPS being played right now in the Overwatch League. We're seeing them get value all across the board. I think that something to be said towards the balancing of the game right now that we're seeing that sort of synchronicity throughout all ranks of this game. So it's really exciting to see E-Boy Crusher popping off Trilogy over on the Genji. I like that we're seeing really a true dive. Merciana with the Winston Diva and Tracer Genji. That's here in 2020. You love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I miss when those days were that's all you saw, and nowadays it's
Oh man.
a rare sight because then you can just come out with a brig and that really messes up people's plans. But this Winston here by Android going to be doing a lot of cleave damage there in the backside, and that's exactly what Trilogy needs to find, that one reset, going to get one elimination, and then Android going to be picking up the second, and it's just back and forth trading coming out here, but the fort is still being held down by the defense. Unfortunately, Turtles is going to find the openings, find the cracks in the armor. But look back there, Hamwell. Nobody was on the cart. So will this give an opportunity for Belladonas to get a recontest?
Oh, it absolutely will. The question is how many they can get up there. But good grief, I was counting in my head. I was like, when are they gonna look at Turtles? Turtles was just cleaning them up from behind, and I was like, someone look at Turtles. Turtles he's killing you. But great. I mean, this was low risk, high reward playing the dive coming out from Embers. You only have a short ways to go. You look at how close they have to play the point Trilogy, getting all this value. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, and at this point, it seems like it's going to be difficult to pull out anything with a Lone Reaper on the point, and that's going to be an evened up series here, Hamwells. We go to 1-1 with Ignited Embers taking Rialto in a dominant fashion.
Yeah, I'll tell you, these teams have been all or nothing. It was 100-0, I believe, on every single one of the control points, and now we hit a full hold coming out from Embers. So I mean, it's these are two teams that are despite how how strongly they get beat by the team they're playing, they're both kind of evenly matched. It's just that when they win big, and when they lose big. So it's very insane. It's a very fun match to watch.
Hamwell, that headshot in the play of the game by Trilogy, it was just the jump headshot onto the Mercy, one tap with the supercharger.
Yes.
Incredible. That was
The word is scrumptious, I believe. Scrumptious.
I'm sure that is one of many words you can use. But now that we have a 1-1 series tie, we're going to be looking ahead to game number 3. This is going to be an important game in this series now, because once we get past this game, it's really just going to turn into a best of 3 if you think about it, because now we're at 1-1. We got 3 possible maps left to go, depending on how ties are going to go and whatnot. And really, winning this map sets the momentum for the fourth map, which I should remind you is going to be a decider map no matter what. So winning this is huge.
Absolutely. I mean, everything's back at 0, so to speak. It's 1-1, but it's back at 0.
Yeah.
Tie ball game. This match, and it goes to King's Row as if there could be no other choice.
How could you choose anything else?
I mean, exactly. I mean, we've had Li Jiang, we've had Rialto, we've had Kings Row. I mean, these teams are in my head. They're like, what maps would Hamwell like? Let's just pick those. And I'm loving it. I have zero complaints. But and the best part is, I think, is that you can see a lot of Genji on that. You can see a lot of the Ashe on that from E-Boy Crusher. The real question is who's going to play Genji for Embers? Will it be Trilogy? Will it be Turtles? Will they run Trilogy on the McCree? Those are the real questions. But I think it's fairly certain that with the proficiency these two teams have had with Ashe, we're going to see a lot of Ashe here on Kings Row. I'd love to see some nice brawl. Reinhardt Sigma's been getting a ton of value here recently over the Reinhardt Zarya. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of that. But just going back to what you said, this will be a make or break map, and this is kind of what I'm talking about, weathering the storm. Both teams have demonstrated their strengths, their skills, and now it's just a question of can you adapt? Can you adjust your strategies and ultimately, pull out with the advantage. So that's really what we're going to see here on Kings Row is the team that can adjust the most is going to ultimately win, I believe.
Yeah, and Kings Row as a longtime favorite of mine personally. I know you just said that Sigma Reinhardt is getting a lot of value, but I love watching Zarya's take over on Kings Row. I feel like this map was made for
So true.
Zarya to just run over. If you just it just takes one quick engagement to get full 80 charge off your two bubbles the second you walk through those gates. And then it's really just up to you that do as much as you can with that power that you're given. And it's always such close quarters fighting that you're always going to have that high charge. And it really gives the flex tanks an opportunity to carry if they're able to. And in certain situations, depending on who you ask, Sigma versus Zarya, I mean, I think it could really be a toss up. It's really a flavor of the month, so to speak, or a personal slice of what you like.
I agree, and I think a lot of it basically stems to personal player preferences. And
PPP.
you speak so much truth about Zarya. I mean, uh, there's a reason DPS hit scan players for playing the Zarya during the Goats meta. I mean, she is a powerful damage dealing off tank when played
Oh
the
yeah.
right way. And Kings Row, you can play the right way so easily. You can get your charge up. You can start maintaining that high charge, and you can really start going to work on the enemy team. And I mean, with the right tracking, you can see a ton of value. So I love, at least for the moment, we're seeing Desney playing the Zarya. Looks like I'm hoping, fingers crossed, don't switch off it. I want to see a nice
Yeah.
traditional brawl coming out from Belladonna. Meanwhile, on the side of the defense, Turtles on the Echo. First time we're seeing Echo tonight.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Double, yes, very very meta. With the McCree and the Echo, double shield, Brig Bat, Brig, despite nerfs, I mean, still in a really strong place. And
Yeah.
I have to think a lot of that it's usually tell to Genji, which Echo not much different than Genji, so it all makes sense. Looks like Midori was doing a bit of a spy check. Will ultimately go over to the Junkrat. E-Boy Crusher,
Ooh,
still on the Ash. You love to see it.
you
Uh,
do.
Value
And
all series.
and to your point with the Brig changes, a lot of those tailored towards Genji really affected his power for the most part. I mean, you look at how people were using Brig packs so often, getting that extra armor boost really helps survivability on these squishy heroes. And yeah, it does hurt her in aiding the likes of an Echo and aiding the likes of, in this case, a Baptiste or a McCree. But I mean, Brig just still creates so much healing, even with her shield going down or having a harder time recharging. I believe
Yeah.
she just generates so much health with her attacks. And I mean, look at this right now. Everyone's just grouping up and fighting, and with everyone getting so close to each other, it's really just a matter of time before we see the Reinhardt Zarya possibly just run through this double shield.
And the closer we get, the more that the closer these two teams get together, the better the brawl becomes. I mean, that's the modus, the
Really?
MO of double shield is keep your enemy at arm's length, keep them away from you. So if Belladonna can break that, then they have the upper hand. It's huge.
E-Boy Crusher with a nice little alley-oop there. The nice dynamite going over the top rope, taking down one. Trying to just keep the rest of their team in this is going to be Turtles, but not much left to be said there as Belladonna does pick up E-Boy Crusher there at the end, getting her up. And with the rest of the squad ready to take some space for their escort portion of this map, it's going to be up to the late respawns of Ignited Embers to try and just make sure they don't lose too many people.
Very, very interesting, Nico, taking this high ground here. I really like this positioning. You have a quick out back to your team, but you're drawing attention and drawing aggression while the rest of your team moves into position.
Yeah, that's Gravitic Flux comes in, and honestly, not seeing too much value coming from that. And with the Bob being used, you do have the Supercharger, so burning him down is a viable option. They do just that. And now with the Supercharger still alive and kicking, and the range on it's just so ridiculous, Turtles is able to wide peek that corner and get a nice little spray down, just keeping the enemy at arm's length. Belladonna, though, does have this numbers advantage for a little bit longer, and that Brigitte barely... Oh, I can't believe I cannot believe Torrent got out of that situation.
Yeah,
That did not
yeah,
look
no
good.
idea how. And now able to rally. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge turnaround. A pick there would have been everything for Belladonna.
Oh, the tire doesn't get anybody right there by the looks of it. Now, we do have what looks like going to be Trilogy taking down one. A Graviton Surge going to be picking up what looks like nobody, actually. Unfortunately, the Echo Ultimate is not able to find any success right there.
Very unfortunate. I mean, you know, that's why we don't see Zarya duplicated a lot. Is that yes, while the grab can be highly beneficial to try and make a grab happen organically and in a good way that you can, you know, get those kills off of it in such a short time frame. That's a tough ask for any player. So I mean, you know, now going into this next map, you've used all of your ultimates on the side of Ember. You do have Amplification Matrix just now coming back online. Flux won't be far behind. Thankfully, Pika Bandito using the ult early in that last fight and able to farm it back relatively quickly. But Nico's leading the team on the flank, and this could lead to a very nice shatter if executed.
And we have to keep an eye on Midi Midori now. Rocking that Junkrat is going to be big, because last time we saw Midi on that, she was crucial to the success of her team. But that Amplification Matrix is so scary to push through. Nice eliminations coming in here with the Resurrect. Coming in onto E-Boy Crusher, they may be able to stall out any possible further eliminations, and they do get out. So Belladonna with 2 minutes on the clock now. They've gotten a few ultimates on the board. They're about to get Nano Boost. They're about to get Bob. They're getting very close to that Valkyrie. But on the other side, the defense here, they're going to have the same, if not more, ultimates. And the Supercharger coming out here first is going to spell disaster alongside the Gravitic Flux. This combo can be deadly if in the right hands. And with the high noon, it's a 1-2-3 knockout combo. And just like that, Belladonna going back to spawn, and they have to reassess their plan because it's not working out as they thought it would.
No, it is not, and it's just really because of great double shield play coming out on the side of Ember. You know, Pika Bandito getting a ton of value on the Sigma. Android V really doing, or Android 5, you know, Torbjorn 5, Android 5, it all makes sense. But
They're
Android,
cousins. They're cousins.
Yeah, it tracks. It tracks. You're absolutely right. So Android 5, you know, great awareness on the range of that supercharger, as you denoted earlier. But Nico smartly still hanging on to that shatter. Nico and Miko. I'm just noticing all this stuff all of a sudden. But you know, Valk coming out early, that will be a great way to kind of help Belladonna get up close and personal with their brawl comp.
And yet again, we see this Zarya duplication
yes.
coming in. Unfortunately, she does get dropped a little too quickly, barely missing out on that Graviton Surge. And then look at that, an actual Graviton Surge going to be used, not find anybody. So that's an unfortunate ultimate, not going to be there for Destiny anymore, but it still helps them get the job done. Belladonna is able to keep the cart moving. And Hamwell, with 25 seconds left, this next fight, if it's a recontest, is without a doubt going to be either miss.
I don't think we'll see the recontest. I mean,
no,
are they? Oh, they do it. They do it. I was gonna say because and ultimately they do have to give it up. And E-Boy Crusher, nice couple of dynamite kills there from her. But I was about to say, you know, I wouldn't even have recontested that. You're on double shield, they're on brawl, you're playing right into their hands. All that does is give them a chance to build up some more ultimates that they just use to win that fight. You know, at the moment, Embers, they're a little bit ahead in the ult economy, but you know that you know, pushing up like that, it fed E-Boy Crusher almost at 90% towards another Bob. Bob can be devastating here at the very end.
Midi hopefully going to be getting that Resurrect up.
Big.
Shatter is thrown down, and even with Orisa standing tall through it, the rest of the team just crumbles around her. And when it looked so bad for Belladonna, they managed to yet again turn it around, finish out King's Row, and with a decent amount of time left in the bank, in that 54 seconds.
That is the huge part. With time in the bank, as well as the defense was for Embers to walk away with 3 points and 54 seconds, that's absolutely huge. And the biggest thing to me just now was Nico holding on to the shatter for as long as she did. Just for it to be absolute. I mean, like I was at a loss for words for a second. She, like, holds on to it for that long, and then from there gets huge value with it and uses it to secure the point. I mean, I think Bob was just an afterthought at that point. I mean, that was just phenomenal awareness, great knowledge of a win condition, and
Mhm.
just, holding on to an ult that long is only okay if it's for a good reason, and we saw
Mhm.
there a pretty
You
super
gotta
good reason.
justify it.
Super good reason. You put the nail in the coffin there on that attack. I mean,
Yeah.
that's absolutely what you needed to do there. So phenomenal job all around from
And you
Belladonna. Now
gotta
on
feel
the
for
defense.
Android too. I mean,
Yeah,
Android was
yeah.
standing there, hit the fortify. I bet they were like, you know what, this fortify point blank, I'm gonna block the shatter. And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, three members of your team are just taking a nap real quick.
Just deleted very
Yeah,
quickly. But
just not a good
Android
time.
5 is going to get some revenge playing Reinhardt here on this attack. I love that we're
Yeah,
seeing the Ryan Zarya here on defense coming out from Belladonna. Uh,
me too.
we'll
Big
have
fan.
we'll have Diva coming out from Pika Bandito. So we do have Ryan Diva versus Ryan Zarya. Trilogy and Turtles both playing projectiles. Genji and Pharah. We got a very
Ooh,
spammy comp coming out. But Mini
Mini,
Midori,
yeah,
spam of her own.
Midi Midori, nicely done, taking down one, and that's going to be huge right there because that just gives them another, was it 10 to 15 seconds of time to just breathe and not have to worry about any more offense coming in. But that time has since passed, and with the Reinhardts trading out, brawling right now, that's the perfect time for Zarya to get some charge and turn the carry pans over to her pocket.
Absolutely, and Turtles now. I mean, E-Boy Crusher is going to have her work cut out for her here, as we see Turtles taking out E-Boy. But there's just so many alleys and high, buildings that it's so easy for Pharah to hide and just pop out. And it's one of the few maps too where I feel like hit scan are at the disadvantage to the Pharah.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, when Afara can play these angles like you're seeing Turtles do, and honestly, you don't even need to play angles when your team's just steamrolling and you can slap them in the face with your rocket launcher. Nicely done right there. You're going to see Embers taking this first point of King's Row very convincingly, and now the escort portion of the map can begin as Trilogy takes down E-Boy Crusher.
That was a blazing fast take coming out from Embers. And Turtles just keeps on going. Tons of picks. The Blade, too. They are staying aggressive, and I love it.
I love it, too. Trilogy picking up 1-2, looking for the third, and Android joins in the fun as well. That's going to be a nice little 3K for Trilogy, and the rest of his team's going to be sitting up here just lying in wait for the defense to try and come back. And unfortunately, Zach is going to be stuck on cart duty. Moira just sitting there hoping to get a little bit of sunshine in her day, as being alone on the cart is a hard life for the main support. You're sitting there and everyone else gets to keep playing Overwatch.
Everyone else gets to have their fun, and you're just like, guess I'll push then. But big ults coming online. I mean, I love this comp coming out from Ember with the double spam going with the Genji and the Pharah. I mean, oh, what combos!
Oh,
This is
man.
insanity. This is
Look at
insanity. I don't
that.
know what to say.
Look at that. The rockets coming in. They are blaring and going right towards third point. Will be the likes of Ignited Embers. And I might add, they're doing it in pretty dominant fashion. As that time bank, ladies and gentlemen, that's 5 minutes and 10 seconds. That's a lot of time.
I don't think that point was contested during that alley portion of King's Row. And, a lot of that to me is the Genji and the Pharah. They can use those alleys, the high ground, the buildings, and they can really make life difficult for a defender.
Midori getting that nice elimination pairing with the Junkrat tire, and nobody was even firing at that Junkrat tire by the looks of it. They just let it come into their back line and just blow up right in front of their faces, and Destiny just taking a little tumble, I guess, falling off the map.
A quick breather. Just
yeah.
a quick breather. No big deal.
Didn't want to give them too much, take back too much of the map. Not feeling very.
And an adjustment. A Diva coming out from
Destiny.
Destiny.
The shatter.
A big shatter.
No success going to be found from it, though, as the Bob does come in. Perfectly timed, going to be stopping any advances that they could have made with the shatter. And Ignited Ember is going to have to go to plan B. And plan B is looking like playing around Turtles, who picks off one. But E-Boy Crusher evens out the playing field. And now with one elimination apiece, making it 2 eliminations apiece, you got to favor the defense. And Trilogy is going to make a hell of a case for the offense here, picking up 1 2, possibly a third, but he gets out of dodge just in the nick of time. And with Turtle sitting here on the barrage, you just have to wait for that Diva. Unfortunately, though, waiting a little too long does not pay off as E-Boy Crusher comes back to life, takes down 2, and it looks like Belladonnas are going to find their footing on this defense. It's an all but lost fight here for Ignited Embers.
I mean, just watching that last fight, props to E-Boy Crusher because, I mean, Trilogy and Turtles are just constantly gunning for her. They've recognized that E-Boy's been getting a lot of those real skill picks for Belladonna. And so Trilogy was just literally chasing E-Boy around. Turtles is raining down the rockets, and E-Boy just completely unfazed. Gets a couple kills, turns the fight around. I mean, this is insane.
And when E-Boy Crusher gets that Mercy Pocket from Clouded Sky, it amplifies the damage so much. And when you're throwing in that dynamite, the AoE explosion, that damage being amplified on 3, 4 people just adds such incredible amounts of ultimate charge to E-Boy Crusher. I mean, look at that. She's already back at her Bob again. Throw it down, and I guarantee you within a fight, she'll be back at another one. It's ridiculous the uptime she's had on this ultimate.
And we will see Bob here. I mean, this is all this focus coming onto E-Boy Crusher. I mean, it's just allowing all of Belladonna. They're farming their ults at a ridiculous rate. I mean, they're just bombarding Embers with ults, and they've still got 4 in the bank. Like they've got 4 back. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And you look at the ult advantage. I mean, it's pretty staggering right now. I mean, as dominant as Embers looked in the first on the point in the alley portion of King's Row, you know, they just it's been a complete 180. I mean, this whole match has been 180s. You know, one team looking completely dominant than the other one, and you know, we're seeing it once again like we did in Lingzhang mid-map. The momentum has completely shifted several times.
We have a shatter thrown down by Nico, followed up by a Diva Bomb. No eliminations for 2 ultimates. Nico actually goes down. This is disaster for Belladonna. This is going to be the fight that I think Ignited Embers can capitalize on. But a beautiful anti-grenade is going to slow their advance for a moment. But now the Dragon Blade comes out. The Coalescence is going to be used. It's going to be so difficult for anyone to withstand this kind of onslaught. And 1, 2, 3, it's going to be only actually 4 members left on the point to play defense, but they're getting eliminated one after another. And even as the clock does tick down, I think by the looks of it, Hamwell, we're going to see Ignited Embers still have the better time.
That's a huge boop. That is a huge boop onto the Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, that was your contest right there, and Bob getting booped, that's the only reason that Embers has more time in the bank right now. Has to be said, though, Belladonna, great defensive hold there in that third stint. It was a 5:15 time bank going into that final stint for Ember. And, you know, you're looking at a 15-second difference now between these two teams. I mean, that's a phenomenal defense. So now we're looking at a very close overtime segment here on King's Row, which is phenomenal. I
mean, 15 seconds, that's nothing. That's honestly basic. That's nothing. That'll be very minute differences where we may see it come into play. But honestly, we should just assume that these two teams have the same exact time bank.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's huge defensively coming out for Belladonna. And now, you know, a lot of times, you know, attacking first. Now you have a chance to set the tone. You did really well on your previous attack, so it just kind of stands to reason. I like Desney going over to the Diva, recognizing how much pressure is getting put onto E-Boy Crusher. That bit of peel, that defense matrix could provide a ton of value.
And E-Boy Crusher's Doomfist?
Doomfist? Now this could be. I mean,
no, they were playing.
I was about to rationalize it. There was some good rationale behind it, but why
put
not?
it in a bit longer, my friend. We have some Overwatch to play here. Turtle's gonna be throwing down some Junkrat left click, trying to just force back his opponents a little bit here and there. And unfortunately, Trilogy gonna be eliminated early on, and that's gonna be, we all know it, E-Boy Crusher finding that early pick right there with the Mercy Pocket. Clouded Sky keeping her alive, and just like that, it's going to be 1, 2, possibly 3 eliminations here off the back of a Reinhardt just holding left click, and a Junkrat forcing their opponent into the corner. Midori is honestly just so suffocating with this hero once she gets an advantage.
and that chaos that the Junkrat bombs can provide, that's huge for E-Boy Crusher as well, because that takes a lot of the pressure that she was feeling from
Oh,
both DPS. And now, just like that, they're right, Ember right back in it. Nano coming out on Nico though. Wow, but the pick still. Ooh, oh!
Turtles with 2 make that 3, and even though there's a good amount of the point taken there by Belladonna, we gotta really give credit where credit's due. That retake that Ignited Embers just pulled out was pretty to look at.
That was, and that was very gutsy because
Oh
that
yeah.
could have backfired very terribly, and then you've just fed over a whole bunch of ult charge to Belladonna to begin their push with ults in the bank, ready to move forward. Instead, though, I mean, huge Riptire coming out from Turtles, just great overall coordinated play. Trilogy. I mean, this has been, the tank and support play has been phenomenal so far this match, but it's hard to see because all four of these DPS players have just been killing it on their roles. Midori on the Junkrat, E-Boy on the Ash. I mean, Turtles. I mean, and then Trilogy and Turtles. They're just like, hey, you play Genji this map, and I'll play it the next map. And whoever's not playing Genji, we'll just let them go hit scanner, or maybe even far. They're just like, we'll just alternate it. And so far, it's been very successful. And that's
So Farah.
you know, Flexi so far. Oh, you
Uh-huh,
you
uh-huh, uh-huh.
cad you.
You
I love
know,
it. I love it.
sometimes you just need to crack those eggs and give them those yolks.
Oh, yuck, yuck, yuck.
All right,
Yeah,
all right. I'll give you
played,
guys
well
a
played.
break from real
Please,
humor.
please do, please do. Our what is it? Our sides can't take it.
I
Side
mean,
splitting laughter. That's a phrase, right? But to the
it
match
is
at hand,
now.
Embers on attack. Ryan Sigma. I predicted it early. We're finally seeing it. Thank you for not making a fool of a caster. Thank you.
Yeah, finally getting in there, and Turtles with this far is going to be causing a lot of problems if E-Boy Crusher cannot find any shots. And by the looks of it, E-Boy Crusher is just getting bounced around, does get dropped without finding a single elimination. This could be absolutely disastrous for Belladona's. And even though E-Boy Crusher does get resurrected, Trilogy does find the elimination there onto Reinhardt. Without the Reinhardt, without the Junkrat, it's going to be so difficult to try and pull this back from the grave. And even though they may have gotten themselves out just for a moment, Belladona's get set 6 feet under on King's Row. And we're going to be taking map number 4 in favor of Ignited Embers here, ladies and gentlemen, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. This looks pretty locked up. I don't predict another contest like we saw out of Embers, but wow, just phenomenal coordination. And Turtles really both of those point takes on their first attack and on their second attack, both of those were really led off by Turtles on the Pharah. And that's just, honestly, that's just great awareness of the map. Great awareness of the positioning of E-Boy Crusher, and this from there, taking out a core counter for yourself, and then really just allowing your team to go to work. Because E-Boy Crusher's just been, I mean, almost like a DPS tank, in the level of value and space that has been provided by the Ash play. So I mean, that's just phenomenal overall coming out from Embers, realizing the win condition and acting upon it and ultimately winning. Bravo.
Yeah, exactly. Bravo and kudos to be paid. But now we got to look forward, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the first match point we will be seeing tonight as Ignited Embers have set themselves up to be walking out of this series and moving on through our lower bracket. If they can just take down Belladonna on, well, I've just heard, if I've heard correctly, as I get my report and I can only hear it when I put my finger to my ear, it is going to be Hanamura. And Hanamura is one of those maps that feels like it can really just, at the drop of a hat or drop of a dime, just really turn on you. And I think it's because, in my opinion, Hamwell, snipers really have a fun time on both point A and point B.
It is. It's a sniper's paradise. Lots of high ground.
And
High
Symmetra.
ground.
And Symmetra.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it's like they're for the same reason too. There's lots of high grounds. There's high grounds that can only be accessed by whether it be a Hanzo doing the wall climb, grapple from Widow, teleporter from Sim. I mean, all these high grounds that can only be accessed by non-traditional movement methods. So it all kind of lends itself. I mean, I think this could be a good map pick for E-Boy Crusher on the Ash. I'd love to see possibly what other hit scans are in the back pocket, so to speak, for E-Boy. You know, if we're going to see some Widow play, this is a good map for it. But yeah, it's just I do like Hanamura. It's hard for me to say I like any 2 CP map. I'm honestly still in the back of my mind. I'm thinking about your whole finger to the ear joke, and I'm just still I'm just still kind of just grimacing from it. So you'll have to bear with me for a minute. But okay,
Also
that
on Hanamura with the Symmetra strategy, though, I believe what was it on Night Market? We saw for it was the very first map on Night Market. Was it Ignited Embers that did the Symmetra?
I
I think it was Ignited Embers
was
that
it
did. I want to say it was Ignited Embers that did it because they won the first round. I believe I was it? No, no, no. It was Belladonna who did it. Thinking back on it, I had a brain blast and I thought about it, and I'm very confident it's Belladonna
you're lucky I got that Jimmy Neutron reference. Otherwise, I'd just be like, "What Brain Blast?" But
now.
hopefully our viewers do as well. Jimmy Neutron, it was a good show. You should go watch it. But uh, yeah, if the sim is in play here, then you know if they're like you said, if Belladonna can run the sim strat, there's definitely a ton of value here on Hanamura. Definitely a lot of creative mentalities you can use. You can go left. You know, you can use it to position your high ground to go in a creative way. I mean, there's just a lot of value you can get from it. You often see it switched off of for second point. But that said, I mean, a snowball's a snowball's a snowball, and if you can keep that Symmetra rolling, just teleport right onto point, start capping, fighting from the point like that. That's already, I mean, that's the whole point of sim is getting you into a position prior to your enemy team can. So it can provide value on point A or B, I'd say.
You ever get a snowball and put it in your freezer until summer and then throw it at somebody?
It's just a ball of ice at that point though. Like
I
it doesn't
mean,
stay snow. You're
I
just
mean,
you're
but
just
then you can
lobbing a
thaw it
blunt
out.
object at
But
people. Are,
no,
are
but
you
then
mad?
you can thaw it out. I mean, I'm not a criminal or anything, but I will
I
say I did that when I was in
I don't know.
elementary school, and it was funny.
You've been lobbing balls of ice at people as a child, haven't you?
No, I thawed it out, so it was softer.
See, so that's still just slush. Like people always told me to do that. They're like, save a snowball for summer, and I'm like, but that's not snow anymore. I do save icicles though, for just because they look cool. Which now that I'm saying
They
it,
do.
sounds way more
Yeah, wait, if we're gonna be
threatening.
talking about
Yeah, that
yeah,
sounds way more threatening than the snowball. So I mean, I should have quit while I was ahead.
well,
Now I've relinquished my lead to beanies.
speaking of being ahead, we got Ignited Embers with that lead, hoping to finish off the series 3-1. And as we load up here onto Hanamura at long last, we will get a chance, by the looks of it, to see what I believe it's Belladonna. Yeah, it's Belladonna going to be going for the offense first. So, by the looks of things, I'm going off tempo and stuff. This is very difficult here for Belladonna because they have to get through this first point here on Hanamura. And when you're coming off a difficult loss like that on Kings Row that went to overtime, coming out and setting the tempo on offense can be difficult. So they are going with, by the looks of it, yes, they're rolling out that Symmetra that I called. They're coming out with a Bastion, and maybe, just maybe, they're going to make some Gouda cheese happen and take point A in one fight.
I really hope they weren't still showing our faces because the level of face drop when you made the Gouda cheese joke. All right, I just lost it a little. But this is exactly to get off of your terrible jokes and back to the comp. I wanted to see the Bastion for Midori. I was about to say this is just the type of cheesy fun comp that can get the energy back right within a team after a tough loss
Yeah,
like Belladonna had on Kings Row. I would love to have seen the Bastion. But that being said, Mini Midori, all kinds of plays on Junkrat, all series long, couple of play of the games in there as well. But this sim strat, this will be the real tell. Where will it go? Ooh,
yeah,
and I like this. Oh, but it's destroyed so quickly. Oh,
yeah.
and that's actually disaster though. For
A
the
little
sim strat.
unfortunate there. Clouded Sky going to get dropped early on, and now she's going to have to try and regroup with the team after respawning. But there may not be much team left to regroup with, as the rest of Belladonna's stuck in a corner here. And It's very difficult to fight in such a tight space against the crossfire of a Hanzo, of a Mei, of a Baptiste, and throw Sigma in there while you're at it, because everyone's joining in on this party, ladies and gentlemen. Desney, the only one left standing, will be taking a jump off the edge, and with 3 minutes left on the clock, E-Boy Crusher going over to the tried and true Ashe. They had their fun with Symmetra. It didn't work. Now they're going to see if they can use the old strats to effect.
And it's so easy for teams to want to try and the sim strat tanks horribly. They go, let's give it another shot. But the smarter play is doing exactly what Belladonna did here, switching off the Symmetra over to the Ashe. It's been successful. It's been working. And now you're back to work building ult economy. This is a nice wall, but not much coming of it. I spoke too soon.
Yeah, that Mei wall is going to be very difficult to come back from. Sectioning off the Reinhardt, he does make it out alive there, but the rest of the Reinhardt's team is going to have a lot of work to get out of there alive, and by the looks of it, not many of them are going to do that successfully, if actually none at all able to get out alive. So with 2 minutes left on the clock, Ham, just take a look at the top of your screen and tell me how many check marks are on each side.
That's a lot of check marks. I'm no mathematician, but that looks like several check marks. And I mean, at this point, it's like it's dealer's choice. The real question, the real challenge, in fact, for Embers is not to use all of their ults this fight, not to get, Q happy. They need to have a plan here. They need to, say, all right, we're going to start off with Supercharger Freeze. We're going to start off with, Amp Flux, but they need to have a coordinated plan. And so far, it looks like they're doing that, but Trilogy already going down.
Yeah, that Echo, when the Gravitic Flux was being used, the back was turned there, and now E-Boy found the opening that they may have needed. Unfortunately for her team, that's going to be an Ice Wall, stopping the amplification.
Huge!
Midi Midori with 3 coming off the back of that Junkrat tire. And when it all looked so grim right there for the team, that's going to be Junkrat doing what Junkrat does best and just exploding the entire opposing lineup.
And I love how Midi Midori exploited the fact that Embers was going to be so heavily focused on Torrent Fury's amplification matrix there. They were all so zoned in, trying to take out Nick Nico, who was on the Reinhardt at the time, has switched over to Winston. Dive coming out here on defense for Belladonna. But so much focus on that amplification matrix for Embers that they don't even see Midi Midori's tire rage right into their face. And now Dive already getting to work.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of trading back and forth. The defense, though, will be getting some picks, and that's all that you really need when you're playing defense on these 2 CP maps. Even with E-Boy Crusher finding an elimination there, the picks just are so favored for the defense. You really need a full team wipe or close to it on the offense to have any success on the second point here.
And that's what can make Hanamura so frustrating. I mean, it's like if you're on defense, you literally like spawn, take 1 step out of spawn, oh, you're on the point. And that's you have to you walk a razor's edge of needing a perfect attack push essentially to really kind of close out Hanamura, especially going from 0 to like a full cap, as of course you try to do with the snowballs. You really just need tantamount to perfection coming out on your attack, and that's tough at any level. Yeah, but Trilogy starting this off, that's a big pick. It's causing a lot of trouble for this dive comp.
Yeah, the Resurrect does come in, but the Blizzard sectioning off the point as a whole, even with the Resurrect there onto Winston, he's just going to be feeding more ultimate charge here to the defense. And Turtles, that's going to be 25% after the Blizzard's already been used. And oh man, poor Desney, she just gets held up. Will get the chance to actually fall off, but still, that delay in the spawn is just so annoying to deal with. I hate going through
it. Is. That's great awareness coming out from Embers to get the stagger. It's so important, and it's almost like, as we haven't been seeing as much Diva played here recently in favor of the double shield, I'd almost forgotten what an important aspect that is to overall Diva play. It's just being careful of not getting staggered there. But now for the attack, you've got some ults coming online. Duplicate could be a ton of value, but Pico Bandito is going to start it off with a nice flux there.
Pico Bandito with a flux. Accretion won't miss, but Trilogy now throwing out the Soldier Visor. Not going to be picking off anybody just yet, but that's going to just help his team secure the elimination, even if he couldn't get them himself. Trilogy and Co. playing defense so well here, and even though they nearly end up giving up this point here, they do defend it at 87.9%, so that is not much left here for the offense to take.
It's not. It was a very great attack, to the point to where you'd have to say that dive is working very successfully for Belladonna. However, I mean, it has to be noted that Winston is going down early in every fight. There's not quite enough healing support for Nico when she goes in on these dives. Possibly an adjustment to something with a little bit more range healing could be the play. You do have both supports down at low ult. You might need a Lucio here as this gets into final fight territory.
Man.
Especially with that pick. I mean, now you're just waiting. You need your Junkrat to get any sort
Hamwell.
of value. No DPS!
Hamwell, the damage amp that you get from both the damage amplification matrix and the supercharger, it's ridiculous. I'm sure Orisa could legitimately 3-shot some DPS with that kind of damage amping. It's absurd.
It is. It's so absurd. I'm still kind of surprised that hasn't been, patched to not overlap. But I mean, as we speculate, I mean, it's just been Embers. They're just cleaning up the kills.
Hamwell, a little progress was made. They went up, I think, about 2% on the point there. So, it may not be much, but come when we see Belladonna have to play defense, that may be crucial.
The difference?
Exactly.
Indeed.
Trilogy, though, finishing off this point here with an advisor. The May Blizzard comes out. Everyone's just using ultimates, and honestly, Belladonna's going to have to be happy with the progress they made, and 89.8% is nothing to laugh at. That's a good chunk of second point taken here. And now Belladonna have to play defense for their lives and get good.
They do. They are playing for their lives because the win condition is set for Embers. They know they need just 90% basically. They need 90% of point B. Something to note, I mean, you don't see Soldier 76 played a lot, but Trilogy looking, very well rehearsed on the Soldier, generating those tactical visors left and right, using them to secure a lot of kills. That was something surprising to see, but a big payoff for them. And I really think some of these unorthodox DPS picks have been different makers as we get, more into this series. It's starting to become more apparent, what people's hero pool is. And so, like Trilogy there suddenly popping out with the Soldier. I mean, that can be a little bit, disorienting. You expect certain things once you've played a team a couple maps, and then to just kind of get thrown out of left field with the Soldier. I imagine that could have caused some troubles. And I mean, just the shield break potential, so strong against dive. You've got the mobility to get away from dives. It was just a very smart pick by Trilogy. But now for the defense, I like what we're seeing out of the DPS. When you're fighting for your lives, ride the horse that brought you. And so Midamidori and on Junkrat and E-Boy Crusher on Ashe, you love to see it. You've got Miko over on the Ana. You've been seeing that a lot. Desney back on the Orisa, Nico on the Sigma. I think this is the best way for them to defense. No gimmicks, no frills, just a meat and potatoes defense that can do a ton of work.
Yeah, but there's nothing meat and potatoes about this Symmetra play as Trilogy and Co go above ground to the top of point A, and now going to be dropping down with this double shield here, and they're going to have to play around turtles because there is not much damage built into this composition. That Reaper burst and the consistent swinging of these two brawly hammer heroes of Reinhardt and Brig, that's really going to be the source of their damage. And with the point really just being so hard to take right now, look at Trilogy's damage on that beam. The left click is just chunking.
It's over.
There's nothing you can do. Android's just been holding, Trilogy's just been holding down left click. And when you let that Symmetra beam build up so much, it does immense amounts of damage. And you saw it right there. It chunked through Sigma and made him look like a tracer.
No, that was absolutely absurd. And I mean, that was such a great teleporter because literally it took away all the space that Belladonna was using for their double shield comp, and then suddenly they're fighting on a point. They literally, before any picks even happened, they were just walked off the point. Like they had to keep playing at range to get any sort of success from their comp. And Embers, they just took advantage of that and they just pressed W.
A questionable Symmetra ultimate right there, not getting full value of the wall. Is they do manage to get onto the point, but not much afterwards. Though Trilogy not using the ultimate to perfection, that damage still being pumped out, but you can't do much when you're dealing with a nano boosted Sigma. One of the scariest things to be staring down in the front, because I mean, when those orbs are just smacking you in the face nano boosted, there's not much you can really do except just get sent back to spawn. Like, we saw Pika get sent right there. And the first fight being held out here by Belladonna is huge because now E-Boy Crusher with Bob is able to keep the point alive even longer, Hamwell. And Nicky Nico is going to have that Gravitic Flux, which also a very good staller and very good point controlling ultimate.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, the best thing too is that now that you've stopped the snowball, now you're able to position. Now you're able to start, shot calling what ults you're going to use. You're going to start, looking at the economy. You have a chance to track what ults they have. Speaking of Turtles, coming online with that Death Blossom, a nice halt in the Death Blossom combo, even a Shatter Death Blossom could beat the play here for Embers. But I like this Flux coming out early.
Turtles, though, gonna find one, and with Pika and Android finding a few more, that could be all she wrote until Nico actually gonna be getting 1, 2, 3 eliminations right there. And even though we do see eliminations coming out in favor for the offense, they don't have that many people on the point. And with Bob coming on the point and the respawns coming in, that one tick is going to be all that they're able to get off of that. Very nicely done there by Belladonna, minimizing their losses, and we still have a match here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and a lot of that, well, all of that is thanks, in my opinion, just to Nico. The Flux, while initially not very successful, leads to a nice string of triple kills, and that's the whole reason that there's no one there for Embers to really get on the point. I mean, that could have easily been the ball game right then and there. Had three people been able to jump onto the point,
even one more.
Yeah, I mean, even with the two, you're absolutely right. I mean, who knows if Bob from E-Boy could have actually even made it. But with just one, I mean, you only get one tick of progress. And from there, I mean, you're looking at now Belladonna, life, signs of life. They can win this map. It's not a question of a draw, as is so often the case when you don't get 2 points on Hanamura. They have a chance to win here. Desney's going to need to get a ton of value with that supercharger. I would have Miko. I would honestly nano E-Boy just for the ult, get that ball back and have that 7th player on your team.
Trilogy, though, is going to be taking E-Boy down right there early on in the fight. Supercharger going to be used. No elimination is going to be found with that Junkrat tire. Turtles turning it on the 4 elimination ultimate. The Death Blossom followed up by the left click, and that's going to be all she wrote as Ignited Embers take Hanamura, and they take the series 3-1.
And what a close 3-1 series it is. I mean, all the credit in the world to Belladonna. I thought the DPS performance was stellar. I thought the tanks played very well. I thought the supports, I thought a lot of the support plays were strong, but it was just, it looks to me like hero depth was a big decider here. You're seeing in this last map, Reaper not really played most of the series. You saw someone else, Soldier 76, not played a lot in this series. So I mean, I really think that hero depth really served Ignite's Embers well, and it'll continue to serve them well as they advance in the lower bracket here of the playoffs. And this will be the end of the journey for Belladonna, but definitely not a loss to feel down about in the slightest. I mean, just phenomenal stuff really coming out. I mean, the carry potential of I'm so
E-Boy
confused.
Crusher.
E-Boy Crusher, the carry potential of E-Boy Crusher on Ashe is just unparalleled. It just wasn't quite enough to kind of bring it all together here today. But I mean, we saw some great Overwatch coming out, and that was if that was our rookie division matchup, I can't wait to see what we have in store for the expert division. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, exactly. And, after that fantastic rookie division matchup, as you said, we will be bringing you guys the expert division first round matchup of the playoffs. We're going to be watching AV8 take on Contract. And ladies and gentlemen, that matchup is coming to your screens and your ears in just 20 minutes. So we're going to take a short break on our end. But when we come back, we're going to be bringing you even more Overwatch. We're going to be seeing who can really get good. And hopefully we'll be watching another close series. Don't go anywhere.